Good morning, I'm Kari. Thanks for joining me today. I have designed this practice with the idea that it's supposed to help you start off your day right. So with that in mind, we're going to be doing some yin yoga poses, and then we'll do a little bit of gentle movement towards the end. We're really going to focus in on using yin though to help wake up the tissues. And when we practice yin yoga, we practice at about 60% of our full stretch capacity. So if you're doing this first thing in the morning or pretty early in the morning, just notice that that feeling of 60% might be a little bit less than usual as the tissues need a bit more time to wake up. And the only thing that you might like to have for a prop today is a blanket or a firm cushion, but other than that, you don't really need anything. So we'll get started in child's pose. Now, a couple things for child's pose. If you've got a blanket or a cushion, you can set it under your forehead as we come into it. You can set the blanket underneath your hips between your calves so that you've got a bit of cushion and propping, something to land into. You can also roll up the blanket and put it underneath your ankles if that feels useful. I'm going to stick it under my head. I'll take my knees pretty wide here as that feels nice in the morning, and then walk my hands out, resting my forehead down on the mat. Now you can stay with your forehead resting here. I'm just going to sit up so that I don't muffle my voice. And allow your hips to get heavy and sink into the mat here. And then take the first couple moments to notice how you've arrived. Feeling into the body as you wake up and start your day. Maybe you're noticing any areas of tension in the body, maybe some morning aches. Notice if you can draw some awareness around these areas without trying to judge them. And then maybe you begin to notice some areas in the body that feel light, that feel like they've already woken up. Again, just gathering information about how you feel today and how you've arrived without trying to place any judgment on that. And then maybe you'd like to bring some gentle awareness to your breath now. Noticing the breath as it moves through the body, maybe feeling it in the side ribs, the belly. You might even notice the subtleties of the body breathing in the backside of the ribs. The expansion on the inhale and the softness and melting in on the exhale. Now take just a couple more breaths, and maybe you'll invite in a fuller, deeper breath here if that feels useful. Now from child's pose, gently lift up your head. If you've got a prop underneath it, you might like to move it out of the way a little bit and walk your hands over towards the left side, feeling a stretch in the right side body. Again, aiming for that 60%. Rest your forehead back down onto the mat. And then you can place something underneath your forehead again if that feels good. But allow yourself the first few breaths here to let the body drop in. So the right hip gets a little bit heavier here. And then feeling the sensation of a stretch from your right pinky edge all the way down towards your right hip crease. Lengthening out the side body. Creating a little bit more space in the right side ribs, a little bit more room for breath. You might find it's useful to bend through the left elbow so that you can lean a little bit more over towards the left side. And then we'll take just about 3 more rounds of breath here. Gently and mindfully begin to walk yourself back to center, pausing in child's pose for a moment. Just taking a note on the differences in the two sides. And then we'll walk our way over towards the right side now. So hands move over towards the right. And again, you can take a prop to put underneath your head if you'd like to. But allow the left hip to get a bit heavier here. And then notice that you feel a stretch from the left pinky edge all the way down to the left hip crease. Gently waking up the side body. Breathing into the left side body, finding a little bit more space between the left side ribs. And then we're here for about 3 more rounds of breath. Maybe you're inviting that full or deeper breath in for these last few moments. And then gently walk yourself back to center, pausing in child's pose again to notice the two sides. And then slowly start to come up to a kneeling posture. We're going to do broken toe pose. Now this one can feel a bit intense, especially first thing in the morning. So what we want to look for is that initial tug on the tissues. We won't stay in this pose very long. So you might like to have a little bit of extra props. Again, you can do the same thing I recommended with child's pose, where you place the blanket underneath your sit bones, between your sit bones and your calves. I'm going to unfold my blanket a little bit and place it underneath my knees. And then for this one, you want to tuck under all 10 toes. Reach back and get those pinky toes because they like to stay out of the equation oftentimes. Then you'll sit back on your heels. Again, that blanket can help take some of the pressure off, or you can lean forward onto your thighs or a little bit even more forward onto the ground. But find a version that feels like you're just starting to tug on the tissues on the bottom of the feet. And then allow yourself to settle into it. We'll only be here for a minute. If you feel like you're wincing a lot and this one's really challenging, just come out of the pose a little bit more. Remember, it's early in the day here. Be kind and gentle with your body. You're about halfway there. Can you use the breath to help calm the body and the mind through this one? See what areas of the body you can introduce a little bit more ease into. So maybe that's the jaw, the shoulders, relaxing the sides of the neck. One more big full breath here. And then to come out of this, gently start to pour your weight a little bit more forward. You can come into a tabletop position and tap the tops of your feet on the mat. Feeling this really vivid sensation of fluid returning to the tissues and circulation here. And then I invite you to find either tabletop position or downward facing dog and introduce a little bit of gentle movement here. So you might inhale, coming forward to a cow pose, and then exhale, rounding into cow, tucking the chin. Or you might like to come to downward facing dog. Alternating, bending through each knee just for a moment. We're going to come into one more yin pose after this, but some little movement in between might feel really nice. And wherever you're at, just take one more round of breath. And then I'm going to come to a seat here on the edge of my blanket. You can come to a kneeling posture or Sukhasana, simple seated posture, whatever feels good to you right now. You can sit higher up on a bolster or a block, anything that really works. And then you'll take your right hand over towards the right side, walking the fingertips out, and then start to tip over towards the right, reaching your left arm overhead. Take that arm into a cactus shape to open up through the shoulder, so bend through the left elbow. And then you might like to start to draw circles with that shoulder, just really gently introducing, again, a little bit of mobility here. Maybe closing down the eyes so that you can feel into the sensations of the right shoulder. And then reverse that circle. Moving really slowly and intentionally here. And then you can reach the left arm overhead here to get a similar stretch as how we started, or I invite you to take the right arm away from your shoulder so that your right arm is parallel with the ground beneath you. Your left arm is parallel with the ground beneath you. So you're reaching out of that left shoulder, and then you drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. You start to probably feel a gentle tug on the tissues on the left side of the neck and to the top of the left shoulder. And then see if you can hug the left shoulder a little bit further away from you. Drop the right ear down, try to relax the neck here. See what areas of the body you can soften a little bit more. Notice how little you actually need to hold yourself in the pose. And then we're here for just about 3 more rounds of breath. Invite in a little bit more ease with these last few moments. Now you can begin to drop the left arm down. Keep the head as it is as you pick up the right hand and assist the head back up to center so that your head is stacked back over your spine. And take a pause here just to notice the difference in the two sides. Maybe you're feeling some changes in temperature or pressure in the tissues. Maybe one side feels a little bit more vibrant, a bit more connected. And then we'll move over towards the other side. So walk your left fingertips out over towards the left as you start to reach the right arm up and overhead, taking a side bend. Now I invite you to cactus through that right arm so that you can open up the right side of the chest a little bit, and then draw some nice big circles with that arm. Really gently, slowly, mindfully. Then you can reverse the circle in the other direction. Maybe closing the eyes so that you can really feel into the sensations of the tissues in the shoulder. As you gently wake up and create some mobility. And then you can reach the right arm overhead, taking a side body stretch, or this is my absolute favorite pose, I think. Reach the right arm away from you here so that it's parallel to the ground beneath you. Drop the left ear towards the left shoulder and feel that tug in the tissues on the right side of the neck, top of the shoulder. See if you can hug the shoulder a little bit further away from you so that you can increase the sensation here of the stretch. If that's too much, you can back off. Come to any of the earlier versions, and then see if you can soften through the neck a little bit more. Again, maybe close down the eyes. Noticing the areas of the body that you can invite in some more ease. And we're here for about 4 more rounds of breath. Use those last few breaths to find some areas in the body that you can relax like 1 or 2% more. So maybe that's the jaw, the forehead. Maybe it's the ankles and the feet. Now gently release the right arm down. Keep the head as it is as you use your left hand to assist you back up to center. Taking a pause here to notice any changes. Maybe the two sides are starting to feel a bit more symmetrical. If not, that's okay. Our bodies aren't actually symmetrical, even though we like to think they are. So the two sides could still feel really different here. And just gathering information and awareness about your own experience. And then we'll come back to a tabletop position briefly. I'm going to grab my blanket and put it underneath my knees for a little bit of extra support. And option here to again come through a couple cat-cows. Or you can also do the downward facing dog if you feel ready for it. So alternating bending through each knee. I'm just going to take a few rounds of breath, inviting in some gentle movement. Keyword is gentle here. And then on your next inhale, reach your right leg out behind you if you're in downward facing dog or tabletop. And then step your right leg forward, coming into a low lunge. Pause here for a moment, let the hips sink and get heavy. And then see what it feels like to scissor the thighs together so that you start to feel a little bit of a lift and a little bit more buoyant. And then reach the arms overhead. You may like to tuck your back toe under and come into a low lunge, lifting up the back knee, or you can stay with the knee down. Open and cactus the arms, so bend through the elbows and lift the chest, maybe take a little back bend. And then on your next exhale, take your left hand down, right arm up towards the sky. Again, you might like to bend through that elbow to open the shoulder, or maybe just reaching the right arm up. Take a couple breaths here. On your next exhale, right hand meets the mat. Step your right leg back, tabletop or downward facing dog. Then on your next inhale, lift your left leg behind you. Step your left foot forward. Same thing, low lunge here, hips heavy. Pause for a moment. And then see if you can engage the legs a little bit more. So scissoring the thighs together and then lifting the arms up. Again, you can tuck under the back toes and lift the back knee if you feel ready for that. Otherwise, keep the back knee grounded. Keep engaging through the legs, and then cactus the arms, open up the chest here. Little back bend maybe. Inhale, come back up, and then exhale, right arm down, left arm towards the sky, twist. You might like to bend through the left elbow to open up the chest a little bit more, or keep the left arm reaching up towards the sky. Keep drawing the legs together here, scissoring the thighs together. Take one more big breath in, and then exhale, hands meet the mat. This time, pick up the back knee and step forward to a forward fold. Let the knees bend and the head hang here. You might like to grab for alternate elbows here so that you can frame the head and invite a little bit of sway side to side. Keep a generous bend in the knees. I don't know about you, but my hamstrings are always talking to me first thing in the morning when I try to do a forward fold. So listen to that and invite in some gentle movement. Keep it really easy here. Come back to center, release the hands, take your hands to your shins, and inhale, lift up halfway, allow the collarbones to broaden. Exhale, soften your knees, forward fold. Once more like that, inhale, lift, open the chest, collarbones broaden. Exhale, soft knees, forward fold. Now press down through the feet to rise all the way up, arms reaching overhead. And then take a pause with your hands in heart center. Maybe close down the eyes. Noticing the body, how you've landed here. Feeling the sensation of the feet grounding down into the earth beneath you. Body awake, alive, maybe more connected, more vibrant. And then we'll take a collective inhale through the nose here. Open the mouth, let it out. I hope that was a useful way to start your day. Thanks for your practice and your presence.